Welcome to Graffiti City, your one stop shop for graffiti supplies. From spray paint to markers, caps, and merch, we've got it all. Let's get creative. GraffitiCityNV.com.
This is the chairman and the artist, where vision meets creation. Let's talk. Hello there, everybody. My name is Rafael. Welcome back to the chairman and the artist with our guest here today. We're going to let you know who's in the house and also Graffiti City NV, owner Vaca. Welcome to Graffiti City, coming to you from Reno, Nevada. And today's date is, what's today's date, homie?
19th.
The 19th.
Oh,
Today is the 19th, so we're gonna record it. Today we have a tattoo artist, a local tattoo artist from Reno, Nevada. He's gonna tell me a little bit about his adventures and what got him into the game. We're gonna dig into the history of Jose, find out what's going on. Jose from A Toda Madre is here.
what's up, guys? How you guys doing?
Good, good. Anyway, how long you own an ATM code on? How long have you been running this?
We started in 2013,
2013.
so we're going for what? 13 years.
Damn.
12 years, 13 years.
It almost sounds like game related. Or the other one, bad luck, good luck.
Yeah.
However you look at the year 13.
Mm-hmm.
And how many guys you got with you right now?
So there's a total of there's the piercer, and then so there's 3 artists, including myself, and then the piercer.
You guys a few new guys?
Well, it's my brother's one of them, but he's hardly ever,
Okay.
he's there, but he's part time. And then I just hired Aaron back. You know Aaron?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I just hired him yesterday. He came back, so
It looks like
we're
it looks like
reunited.
it looks like the club is coming back together.
Yeah, we're reunited.
That's good, homie.
Yeah.
Now I'm having fun with the chairs and the tables and still trying to produce that stuff. But any of your guys need new chairs or let me know because I got a new chair coming up. I
Okay.
gotta develop a new model.
Okay.
I need somebody to try it out.
All right. All right.
Let's see if I can.
Well, I use your chair and I use your stand every day. I've been using your chair and your stand for 3 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think longer. Maybe going on 4 years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, been using it every day. I didn't.
What do you like in new switches with the hand one?
Oh, that was dope. Almost feels like I'm working a forklift. It's way more convenient.
Well, yeah,
And that's a good thing about having you here in town because you want to make any changes to the chair, or you can make that happen. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah,
That's a good thing.
that's the best thing about it. I can go and explore and learn. It's still a lot of the shops in town. I keep an eye on my chairs. I can see where I need to fix this glitch. I need to fix that glitch, and that's how I've been improving it. Little by little.
Yeah, I think my chair has gotten a couple good different new custom stuff. I got a phone holder. I got a bunch of stuff put into mine already.
Yeah, we've been playing around with a little bit of get ups, and that's also what I've done with over at Jay's place. When anything goes wrong, I can see where I need to be aware of. So the next one I can address it, and hopefully, tighter I can make them, and the better. Hopefully, I'll get some more people looking into my stuff and buying them.
Yeah, I tell you what, I haven't looked back since I bought mine.
Yeah, hopefully also
My
in the
back
future.
enjoys it.
Yeah, this is better, dude. It's a big difference between like this and like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you're gonna do 8-hour sessions or tattoo all day.
Yeah.
What do you guys you got a new location. You want to tell the people where you're at?
Yeah, so we started the new year. We moved to a new location. We're over on Gentry Way, 425 Gentry Way, Suite I. We're up in the second floor. It's cool there. It's chill. We got away from Wells, Wells Avenue, which we'd been there for over 10 years, and it was good while it lasted. Now we just went on to a new venture and went down to Gentry. Um, it's way cheaper over there, and it's better.
It's spacious.
Yeah, it's pretty spacious. Yeah,
I want to, just a little bit. And I also kind of like it that it's upstairs,
yeah,
because you're dealing with more serious people that, not just people wandering off the street.
right.
And,
Yeah. Well, that was the thing that was happening over in Wells. You had a lot of window shoppers. Because there's so many shops down there that jump, 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 jump until they see who's the cheapest.
Yeah, that's right now we're in a client's market.
So it's just
You gotta
one of those situations.
you gotta cater to the clients the way they want to be catered to and all that.
Right.
It was easier for me to get away from it now. I don't think the new clients can deal with my anger management and get the fuck out, and I'm not here to deal with you.
Well, definitely a whole new environment for sure for tattoo shops, tattoo parlors. Um, I mean, compared to what it was back in the day. But back in the day, there wasn't as many shops, so you could get away with being an asshole or a dick.
Yeah, and listen, not everybody had a phone to blast you. All of a sudden you're being recorded, and they put not only are they posting it, but now they're going to go on Yelp and leave a bad review.
Yeah.
Go on Google and let out their anger and frustration, and
And it's crazy because there is a lot of clients that look you up, and if you have a low star rating, they don't even bother looking no more. Oh yeah, this fool's got a 2-star. That's it. They don't even look at the art. They don't even look at what the reviews are. Because sometimes those reviews can be, oh, he was wearing a bright green shirt. I didn't like it. You know what I mean? And it's like, what? But you got to read those reviews because sometimes they're whack reviews. They're bogus ass reviews.
Oh yeah, I got a couple, and I didn't even answer. It's kind of like, and actually, some of those reviews were bringing me in more people because they wanted to hear my side of the story.
Yeah.
They wanted to hear what the fuck. And hey, Ralph, I saw a review that you did this and that to this client.
Yeah.
Well, tell me about it. Oh shit, I got to answer to you too. Okay, let me tell you how it went. So this idiot comes in and wants me to do a piece that I know is not going to work out. Not only does he want me to do this fucking piece that is super elaborate, he's got a plane to catch. And you think you can get it done in 3 hours or 2 hours? Something that would take 10 hours. And you say, nah, man, I'd rather not do this. What? You're not fucking good enough?
Yeah.
You don't know what you're doing? I've seen how people can do. You can blast this in an hour or 2 hours. Like, I don't know what the fuck kind of TV show you've been watching or what kind of TikTok. But so or nobody took the time to educate this motherfucker on how to ask for a piece, because some of the clients were coming in with unreal demands.
Yeah.
And we could educate them back in the day. Some of these clients don't want to be educated. They got their Google, they got their YouTube videos.
Correct.
They know what they should expect. They come in asking for, I want with this kind of needle and this and that. It's like, fuck, now you're gonna dictate to me how to do my job, what kind of needles I should be using.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like one of those things where you see these videos and they do a full sleeve and a 30-second video, right? And people think, oh, okay, like he did this whole sleeve, and then it's kind of like, have you ever seen those YouTube tutorials where you're like want to build an engine and you see this dude build an engine in 20 minutes? You're like, oh man, that's all it took, 20 minutes.
Look, this is how I started my website. Back to that. Me too. I have fallen for that fucking concept. I'm a fucking perfect subject. I would tell my guys, hey, I'm gonna build a website. I'm gonna build. Finally, I built and rebuild a website, and then in 2 days you can have no. And after you've done this video, you can have the Shopify online store ready. I'm like, okay, let's see if it happens. 3 months later.
But that's true.
And finally, but I kept at it, I kept at it, and 3 months later, I got my shit done. When we got working on Vaca's Graffiti City and V, we started. I told them, look, Don't believe any of these fucking videos. These fuckers are lying to you. It's gonna take like 3 months to get this shit done.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to do it in steps, and we have to do this, and we have to get the certifications before we can even do all this shit. And even with having a certification, if you're pretty wizard on your fucking computers, you can have it done in about 3 weeks, you know?
Yeah.
But that's something that when you got to work on it 8 hours a fucking day
Yeah.
and really get behind the desk and put into it. We would work 2 or 3 hours, and when you get sick and tired of it, you get frustrated. And if you can't accomplish something on the video shows are so easy, you're like, the fuck? How come it's not working? You know, and you're also trying to learn the language.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when it comes to computers, that's one of the things that a lot of people don't want to go learn the language.
Yeah.
You know, like one of my advice to people, well, why should I read a book, Raph, when I can just watch YouTube video? Okay. And then I see them, what are you doing? Oh, I'm watching this video on how to do this. Stop the video, and then they do this. Then they start the video, then this. And it's like, oh, she's doing monkey see, monkey do. Says, what do you mean? I'm doing this project. Like, you know, it's like, but you're not understanding what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're just copying. You're not even comprehending why you're pushing them. And so they keep stopping the video and going back. I mean, I know because I'm a subject to it. I've been through it. But at the same time, I read the books and now I know the language. Now I can watch a video. Normally, what I do is I watch the whole video first and have them explain as much as possible. And I watch the whole video. Then I start again. Now I can go ahead. Oh, it says to do this and that. Okay, I'll stop it. But I know what I'm doing. Okay. And it's easier for me to follow instructions because I know all the language.
Yeah.
And the language is what keeps a lot of people from not want to prosper in the computer.
Yeah.
And right now, if you're not prospering, you know how to figure how to educate yourself on the computer.
Yeah.
You're gonna be left behind like these old timers that are grumpy, mean right now. That why? Because they think the computer wasn't worth learning. You know,
the same thing would happen with the tattooing. You know, some of these older cats would talk crap about the rotary machines.
Well, and now the rotary machines are outdoing the other ones, and the rotary machines. You know, I just had a conversation with my brother about rotary machines, and he explained something to me that was kind of confusing. That what it used to take him, let's say, 4 or 5 passes to accomplish, he's like, dude, in 2, maybe even 3 passes, I can accomplish this shit. And you believe me, we can get a lot more work done. I'm like, oh, okay, so now I understand. But prior to that, I was pretty skeptical of some of those rotaries and shit. I still make, I just was just calling them the other day dildos. I still call them dildos, you know, because they do vibrate and
yeah.
But no, that's the future. The cartridges are the future. The new evolution of no core on your machine. That is so fucking cool. Not having to worry about fucking out your clip core.
Well, that's what's good about like when I use your stand. I can literally put it anywhere I want, and I can tattoo anywhere. You know, it's so easy. As to before, you would have to say, okay, where's the outlet at? Where do I put my my toolbox at? Where I put my see how long my foot pedal can reach. You know,
we were tethered to a power supply.
Yeah, you know,
and even if you had the power supply hooked up to a little table,
right?
You know, if you move the table too fast, suicide. There goes your power supply.
Yeah.
But yeah, now with all this cordless stuff, yeah, I think makes my tables easy, more accessible, more valuable.
We were just talking about that the other day at the shop. How like now it's the information to become a tattooer. It's out there so much easier.
Oh yes,
but it is so much harder to be a tattooer because people are not wanting mediocre work anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because they're going online and they're seeing this crazy stuff that 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you would be like, oh, we can't do that. You know, like we can't, oh, no, now you're seeing all this crazy work.
Well,
you know, and it's like one of those things where it's a lot harder to be a tattooer because people are expecting a lot more now than before. Before you could walk into a shop and see a flash or whatever, and if that girl's arm was, off, you wouldn't care. All right, cool. that bitch has 6 fingers. Cool. You know what I mean? But it's not like that nowadays. They're looking at all that stuff now. And that's what we were just talking about. How it's a lot easier to become a tattooer, but a lot harder to be a tattooer.
Well, to live up to what people want to put you on a standard. It's kind of like when I started tattooing with Kelly. I had a portrait done on me.
Mm-hmm.
So when people see my portrait or they say, "Oh, so you can do stuff like that?" No, this was done on me. I'm not. I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
I'm doing this cartoony stuff. I'm learning my tools. Once I feel confident, I'm gonna take on portraits, and But in my case, I actually kind of started doing portraits right out the street prior to working with Kelly. But Kelly's like, oh, "You're not gonna do portraits here until I know you're ready to do portraits. But if you want to do portraits to practice on," he says, "I want you to do Jesus. I wanted you to do
Virgin Mary."
Actually, but Jesus is better. With the Virgin Mary, what it is if you don't do that face right, and you know how she's down and this and that, a lot of people can make fun of it. But if you do a hairy guy with the thorns, that's Jesus.
Yeah.
You can't kind of go wrong.
Yeah.
And when you show somebody your Jesus, and even if it looks a little crappy, ain't nobody gonna say your Jesus looks like shit. It's like, oh, that's Jesus.
Yeah.
So he says, practice on Jesus so you can learn how to do your shading.
Yeah.
And Jesus, he's like this. You can learn how to do those eyes.
Right.
And the hairs, it's got so much intricacy. He says, it'll be good practice for you to do hair. Then you got to do the thorns. It's going to give you good practice to do the shading. Right. And this and that. So I did a lot of Jesus to practice how to do portraits. I learned with portraits of Jesus before I decided to take on somebody's portrait, because I'm like, dude, this is a portrait of your kid, and especially when it's somebody that passed away. Yeah. And so you don't want to take on a piece that, if you fuck up, you're also kind of messed up a memorial tattoo.
Yeah.
And for me, was I would prefer, and back in the day, Jesus was a little more popular than the Mary, the statue of what is it, Michelangelo. That's the piedra, that's what they call it. Yeah. Anyway, Michelangelo's carving, everybody and their mama got that one done. And I seen it became a trend. Everybody was doing those statue tattoos.
Yeah.
And
But that's what tattoos are, They sometimes become such a trend. There's a minute where tribals were a thing, and the kanji symbols.
Oh man, that was my game. That was my game. You're talking about my time.
Then you had you had the tramp stamps.
Oh, I remember those.
And then you had, and then now you have the little crosses in the back of the ear. The one that says "Fe" with the little cross. The little
infinity symbol
with the symbol, with the little feather and the little. I love it when people come in and they go, "Can you do an infinity symbol with a feather? And can you add my 10 kids' initials around there? Yeah, how big you want it? Well, this big, And so you want me to add 10 initials with a feather?" On a tattoo this big,
Look, I seen it on Instagram. Yeah. Somebody used Photoshop to put, and they would come in with, it was funny when they would come in with a full portrait of a lion. They wanted right here, a face of a lion, and it's funny detail. It's like, that's Photoshop, and that's not going to happen.
No.
Why not? This is real. This is a real tattoo. No, it's not. It's a fake tattoo. It's but I had to educate the clients, and people should still need to educate the clients.
But you see, about
falling for
not we tend to try to educate our clients, but sometimes they don't care. They don't listen. You know what I'm saying? And man, times are rough. You're like, all right, you want that? All right, cool. You
have to eat. Sometimes you gotta sell your soul.
Shut up and all right, I tried. But then afterwards it's like whatever. They walk around with. I remember one time this guy wanted an infinity symbol with a little tree of life. Into the
tree life.
He says, because this is my family tree forever, and He gave me this whole, and I said, yeah, bro, but we cannot do it this big. It's got to be, let's try to figure out how we could incorporate all that, but in a bigger setting, But sometimes I don't care. Like you said, now you got, back in the day, it was Photoshop. Now you got AI that literally looks like real tattoos. You could tell AI to create a this and this on an arm, and it looks really real. Even if you zoom in, it has the little streaks, the little tattoo streaks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy the shit that's out there nowadays, and people believe it. People believe that that's a real tattoo, and I mean, that's just the way tattooing is going nowadays, And then now you got the fine line artists, that's fine line today, but I call it fine line today, but fat line in 10 years.
Oh yeah. Well, it also depends how much black ink they use. Like to tell the truth, this is trippy as hell. I have a client that I tattooed a long time ago, and to this day, he's got my smallest portrait of Jesus that I did on him right here, and I did it with we can say fine line, but it wasn't fine line. I used I watered down my ink,
Yeah.
so it's not all black because black will spread.
Mm-hmm.
So I watered it down, and I did the shading of the Jesus. You can actually see a portrait of a Jesus on this fucker's head right here, and it's so small. And last time I saw it, like, motherfucker's still there, and it looks like Jesus. He's like, yeah, I can't believe that it didn't blow out. Because a lot of those small little tiny tattoos that you try and do little cool little details,
Yeah.
those things will blow up. And
That's
eventually,
like when you tattoo the hand, you don't do lines on the hand,
they want it. They want. I've done the stigmatas.
Yeah,
I've done the bottom of the feet. I encourage people not to do it. I want to do it. Okay, I'll take your money. That's what I have to do.
Remember back in the day, there used to be one of the Sesame Street guys that the drummer was, what I'm talking about? The
Animal.
drummer, Animal.
Uh-huh.
And they had it on the bottom of their foot. It was like a big tattoo that was done at the bottom of the foot, and it was amazing looking, but you never get to see a healed one, You only get to see the fresh one, never the healed one.
Well, right now, and I did talk to a tattoo artist because I told him, hey, why? He says, well, this is the best time you can get a picture of a tattoo. And all his tattoos were freshly done. And my boss used to tell me, you can take a picture of the tattoo just in case this motherfucker walks out and gets killed or dies, we have a photo of what a cool piece you did. But if he can come back when it's healed up, and you can take a photo of it, and then you get to really see the detail and what it looks like and everything, and that's going to be a better presentation of your art.
Correct.
Because if you show it to the clients with all red and irritation, they would a lot of them would be like, "Oh fuck, that's gonna hurt this and that." Which it was also the opposite. They also like that red irritation look that they wanted the tattoo to look like that bronze.
Do you think
Like that bronze? Like that reddish bronze. Yeah. People would ask that. I was like, no, it's because the tattoo is irritated. I don't like that look.
Yeah, I like
Can you do that? And that became a something of a struggle where you had to explain to the client. So our thing was photograph the client a month later.
Yeah.
We would convince them to, hey, you gotta come back. We're not asking you. We're telling you you're gonna come back. We would actually set them up within a month or 2 week appointment for a touch up. And as soon as they came in, if you need to touch up, you touch up a little bit, and then take a picture, and you had some of the best photograph. And now the tattoo is healed. The colors look bright. There's no irritation, and your tattoo will actually convince the next client, dude, I want to get one because I can see the detail and everything. And that's how we can say it should be. But now it's all red and irritation because there's a good chance you're not going to see these clients again.
Well, the thing is, and that's one of the things that I talk to the guys at the shop all the time. Look, it's always good to put heel work out there. It's always good to, if you see this tattoo in 6 months, a year, and you see him out in the lake or you see him somewhere, take a picture. Because I've been known to tattoo super dark, and I tell clients, yeah, I tattoo dark, because to me, the tattoo I want it to look good today, but I want it to look good in 10 years from now. You know, you're gonna go to the lake, you're gonna go to the beach, you're gonna be out in the sun, you're gonna do. So I want all that wear and tear to hold still. You know, after a couple years. So that's it's just one of those things where I tell people like it looks dark now, but just give it a couple weeks and then look, it's gonna tone down. You know, it's gonna be a lot lighter than what it is now. You know, but it's and that's kind of where those fresh and those healed pictures make that comparison.
Well, what we did is, especially on black and gray or stuff like that, and the way we're able, for me, to look at a piece and say that motherfucker knows his shades, is we would let the tattoo heal, come back. Oh, dude, let me go over it again. Now it can darken up some spots more and bring out some highlights and shit like that. And also maybe it would allow me to work even feather in my shading a little better and smooth it out if it needs smoothing. And then once it heals up, that motherfucker now would have at least 3 or 4 different shades of darks and depths, and you can show all that. But a lot of people, yeah, they're doing the one-time thing, and I think if you can say, okay, I'm gonna do it not super dark, I'm gonna leave myself room to come back. You can always add more, but you can't take off.
Yeah.
And but I don't know if the client is willing to come back too, because a lot of the clients, they want it done in one session, and we tell them, we used to tell them, I don't give a fuck. That tattoo is not done until we touch it up.
Yeah.
Because you're fucking walking out there with my tattoo and that eye didn't get touched up or this or that. Right. And now that bitch looks crooked eye or this or that. Or you pick the skin, right, and instead of coming back and letting me touch it up and maybe get a photo, you're fucking staining my name. You're fucking up my reputation.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to come back because it was going to hurt. So fucking what? Let me fix that nose. Let me fix a little bit. I realized I messed up. Let me redeem myself. Yeah. That's what I would ask my clients. And a lot of times, either I ask them or I bully them. If I saw them out on the street, motherfucker, when you gonna come in? That shit is walking around the town. Motherfucker needs a touch up. I was straight up. And by the way, it's free. I don't know why I would do a free touch up in the first 6 months.
And that's the thing about those things nowadays. People are charging for touch ups. I've never charged for a touch up, It's crazy.
Well, I required myself a touch up because I wanted to see what my tattoo looked like. I wanted to see the results once it was done. I got a chance to photograph it, and I wanted to document myself. I'm here to learn, and the only one I can learn from is me.
Yeah.
A lot more, or I can improve and this and that. I'm still learning from watching him, or if I'll be watching you, I'll learn a little bit. But when it comes down to it, when I'm putting the ink on the person and this and that, it's me that's has to live up to my reputation.
Well, that's like one of the talks that we've had at the shop with the AI and creating designs with AI, And there's this big thing in the industry right now that if you're using AI or just designing through AI, you're not a real artist and you're not this and you're not that, But but it's one of those things where just because I have an image, that doesn't mean that the part tattooing it. That's the big thing, because I feel like it doesn't matter what image I get, because at the end of the day, I gotta tattoo it. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's where the art comes. You get to practice. No, the art comes in creativity.
Yeah. Well, yeah, creativity.
Creativity.
Yeah.
That's where it comes from. Right. Creativity, and you got to create it yourself. Yes, AI, you're gonna copy this and that, and you're gonna try and manipulate it. But to create something on your own, where you say, I'm blank space. I'm gonna create a scene. I'm gonna create a fantasy world. To me, that's really art, and that's how. But we're cheating ourselves.
Well, it's the expression, right?
Yeah,
art is the expression.
But we're cheating ourselves by also we've done it ourselves. We do this podcast right in the beginning. We used AI to make the artwork because we're like, dude, let's just get this shit done. I know it's gonna take us months to even draw the artwork because we're so choosy.
That's the biggest thing, is using it as a tool.
Yeah, and
using it as
I'm not claiming that's my art.
You know what I mean? But
there's no way. I feel so confused about AI because I signed up for an AI and I used it, and it even allows me to make T-shirts. But I was like, AI art. This is not my. I cannot claim, but I do like the fucking eye
But
candy.
even think about it like this though. It takes creativity to tell the prompts to use the AI.
But it doesn't give you. It doesn't give you.
Even that is still
but it
tough.
doesn't give you what you're
Oh, it doesn't.
imagining.
It doesn't.
So-
it doesn't. It doesn't. But if you use it as a tool, and it's like anything, like our machines, we use them as tools. We're the ones doing the work. But they could be somebody that comes in and has a machine that he's been using since the 1960s, and he could still do the same work. But our tool, what we're using now, is a tool to make it a lot quicker and faster.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
Believe me.
If you
But it is destroying creativity. To me, AI is destroying creativity. It's also stealing a lot of creativity from true artists that are out there doing it. I mean, I've been immersed in this fucking AI shit. I'm very confused. I'm fighting with it. I'm loving it.
It's a hate relationship.
Yeah, we use it. We hate it.
That is correct. Hate relationship.
It doesn't give me what I want when I really wanted this and that, but it does a lot of cool eye candy. Now that I know what that I can just ta-da, and I'll use this one and that one. But as an artist, fuck will I ever not ever I will never take credit for something that a computer did.
Oh,
I could not take credit.
The way I
from
use
my
it,
heart.
yeah,
I could not take credit.
The way I use it is when clients come into the shop and they want to get a tattoo. And the favorite quote of that is, I don't know what I want. Right? And then you're like, okay, well, we got to start somewhere, So they tell you, well, I want a unicorn going through this blue mountain, and they have all this stuff, right?
And then
and you're like, okay, that seems like you were on acid when you dreamt about this, right? Okay, let's see what the AI can come up with. Now you get some ideas. Now I know where your mind is going, right? And now you can use those images, and then you put your twist to it. But now you have something to start to, where before you would have to draw a whole piece, right, on paper.
No,
then do another, or on a book or whatever.
No, back in the day, what did you want? Then I would have a book on that, and then they're like, hey, I got this.
But then you go to the light table, draw something up, right? Then come back, put another layer, see what, right? And then you spend 8 hours on doing this design. Client comes, it's not what I wanted.
I know,
right?
I remember that.
So now you're like another 8 hours to try to get that situated. And then now you're like, okay, so this is going to take, you don't like it. But it's because you're not giving me something that, right? So now that's where I use the tool.
Yeah.
Right? To be okay. Now I could get, okay, cool. Now I see where your mind's going. Now we have something to start with.
Now you can give it directions. Hey, I like this, but I need you to use these colors.
And then you use that tool, and then at the end of the day, because to me it's like this: you can follow everyone's line drawing. A line drawing, me, you, and Baca could be here, and we could get the same line drawing, but we're all gonna shade it differently. You know where some of those shades are at, right?
No,
but we're all gonna create something different.
Even a line drawing, that's a cool thing.
You know what I'm saying?
Create from scratch.
And that's where I feel like that's where the art comes.
Yeah.
Right? Because at the end of the day, we could all have that same line drawing, but we all can make different,
give it different shades.
Right?
Different lighting.
Some gonna do it 2D, some gonna do it 3D. You're right. Some's gonna put those extra shadows. But at the end of the day, that's where that creativity and that art comes. Right? So I always tell people, to me, art is where the shading is, where the you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, we all gonna shade it differently. Yeah, like I would come up to the client with an outline of a portrait or something that I'm doing on them, and the outline looks so weird. Versus, then you start doing the shading, and the character comes together, or whatever you're working on. Well, because you're doing all those lines, and then they're like, "Hey, you're gonna put that line there? You're gonna right?" You're mapping out your shading differences, but then are they gonna have all those little dots in there? No, those are my guidelines. I remember I used to work with a tattooer back in the day that whenever he did portraits or something, right? He'd be like, "Man, I made the grandma look younger." And I said, "That's not that's not what you're supposed to do, bro. Like they want the grandma to look old as fuck. If she looked old, then make her look old, or
He was giving the plastic surgery.
or or if they have like a big mole, like a big mole, like it's one of those. He's like, now I gotta shrink it down a little bit, but that's what makes that person.
Yeah, so he didn't say anything. He didn't like
Like that mole is what makes those that person that person. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where, like, I've had to tattoo a couple, and it sounds messed up, but it's like, I've had to do a couple portraits where the eyes that way, or they're
well, you don't know until you look at the photo that not everybody has that nice eye thing, or
they have something that's wrong cosmetically. You know what I'm saying? I don't post those because I already know people. Or if I post it, I have to put the picture right next to it because it's like, look, this is what I based it off. You know what I'm saying? Because
I did that to one of my clients. She is I can't remember. Homegirl got a portrait of her sister, and on the portrait, her sister's crossing her eyes. So that was, the cool eye crossed tattoo. So I did the tattoo, and then she would tell people, "Yeah, he fucked up. She wasn't cross-eyed at the photo." Just to fuck with people.
Yeah.
And people like, "What the fuck? Are you let her do that?" Well, I didn't know until I saw it. Look, it's all cross-eyed,
Right.
But that was like the funny tattoo, and
Yeah. Yeah, but it's to me like I do portraits, I do semi-realism and all that kind of stuff, but there's certain things that you have to put in there. If it's in the picture, you put it on, whether regardless if you think that it's not or it shouldn't be there, you still gotta put it. You know what I mean? Like
I have done what they call Frankensteins. I call them Frankensteins. I've done a pretty cool portrait of this guy's portrait of his two kids, pretty much right next to each other, and it looks like it's really good put together, but it's actually two different photos. So he put one and then put the other one.
Yeah.
But when you put like two different photos right next to each other and trying to make one portrait, and the photos have different lighting effects, it looks off.
Right.
This one looked pretty good, and then he had me do another one of his mom with a penacho, an Aztec penacho, and I told him, dude, I don't like doing those. I call them Frankenstein's because I'll be able to get your portrait of your mom out there, but if the penacho doesn't look right, people are just gonna make fun of it and this and that. And he's like, "Oh, come on, man, I don't care. It'll be okay." And actually, it came out really good, so I was happy with that one. Then I did another Frankenstein, and this one got me into trouble. And I didn't want to, but this girl talked me into it. She came in and she wanted a portrait of her grandma. So I told her, okay, this is a cool black and white 1960s portrait of her grandma with a cool hairdo. I don't like that hairdo. She brings me another picture and says, I want you to put this hairdo, an afro. Her grandma apparently also had an afro. I said, okay, I don't want to do that. It's not going to look right. I'm the client. I get what I want. I said, look, I'll do the black and gray, this and that, but I really think we're doing a Frankenstein. I tell them right off the bat, we're doing a Frankenstein. I don't like doing Frankensteins. You're going to do it and this and that. And she was a snobby, rich person who could push people around. She had money, and I know you can do it. I hate it when they do that. I know you can do it. I know you have the talent. So just do it.
Yeah.
Oh, apparently you know my talent level. I'm just telling you it's not going to work out, but I'll do it.
Yeah.
So I made the stencil, put the afro, I shaded the whole thing. She comes back a couple of weeks later. My grandma's not black. Everybody thinks she's black. I said, you asked me to put an afro on her.
Yeah.
And people think the afro is black.
Yeah.
And it's a black and gray photo.
Yeah.
I said, get the fuck out of here. You asked me to do this. I told you never. I didn't want to do this. You're an asshole. My grandma's not black. Oh, I was laughing my ass off as soon as she left. Because her boyfriend came in to try and bully me. And I had to put him in the fucking corner and told him, I don't give a fuck if she bullies you. But you're not going to come and bully me or have her bully me. Or you're going to bully me too. So I had him in the corner and told him, what the fuck? You're stupid enough to hang out with that crazy girl. That's your problem. But don't think you're going to defend her honor. She asked me to do that. And you're about to get fucking hit really hard if you don't get out of my way. Because he tried to corner me. And then he just fucking backed the fuck up. And but people think they have an imagination and they think that you're supposed to do it. And after I told her, it's not a good idea. I don't think we should do this. You really think? I know you can do it. I heard the stuff about you. You do miracles. I heard stuff about you. After I told them many times, all right, fuck it. I'm going to do a Frankenstein. And I did it, and I still tell that story because it's a funny story, but people should know you can't always get what you want. This ain't fucking McDonald's. This ain't fucking Burger King.
Well, you see, that's kind of where I'm going with the whole, AI thing, because you give them that visual. Hey, look, this is what it's going to look like. And then they're like, oh, that's really, damn, I didn't think it would look that weird. Yeah, it's a pretty weird idea that you got going on right now. So now let's work something else, and it gives them a little visual to where it gives them an immediate gratification visual, where it's like you get to see it right there and then within like 5 minutes. Now, instead of having to come back in 2 weeks when I have one design done and then come back again and you didn't like that design and then we're gonna sit there and do it. So I feel like it's a tool. It's a great tool. Like I feel like it's a great tool to use.
Yeah, it's a badass tool. But for me, I used to do it the old school way. I would draw on the client, draw my condition. Then once I draw on them, I said, ta-da, look at it in the mirror. And they stood there for 3 hours. Now they understand this shit didn't just come out of my ass like AI does it. It took me 3 hours to draw their vision.
And that's
if they like
itself.
And if they like it, then I started outlining it or started, leaving an outline so I could come back. Now I can start doing all my shading. And still, they saw an outline of what it's going to look like, but all the other shit is still in my head, and they had to trust me. That, I don't know if the clients even trust us anymore, but my clients had to trust me. Like, trust me, it's going to look cool. And I had, and then halfway through it, now they start seeing the details. Like, oh shit, it's coming a lot better than what I envisioned. It's like, I don't know what the fuck you envision, but I'm showing you my vision. And translating their vision into my head and trying to put it on there, it's a challenge. But yeah, I think AI does help a lot when it comes to both people getting an idea of which direction to go.
Exactly, and I mean, I don't use it all the time, but it does help out, especially like situations where I've been at like tattoo expos and they're coming and it's like, bro, I'm here for 3 days, and I'm trying to book every day. So I'm not gonna sit here and I'll be like, okay, this is kind of what I'm thinking. What do you think? Oh, I love it. Perfect. Cool.
That's like the best saying that you want to hear. I love it.
Right?
You hit it right because sometimes it takes us 3, 4, 5 tries before they even say you get close to it.
I was in San Francisco and I had a client that wanted an octopus and he wanted it done with steampunk,
oh, okay,
putting all that steampunk and metal gears and imagine drawing that in at a convention. Like this,
hey, I need your help.
you know? I think we came out with like 20 different octopus. And then he said, I like the gears on that. I like the legs on that. I'll say, cool, Frankenstein it. There we go.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? 30 minutes later.
You can tell yeah, hey, grab this one, grab this from this. And it is so fucking crazy. And it is, you're right. You also have to be a good proctor.
Yeah.
You have to give it a good description so I can give you as close as you can of what you might have in your head.
I mean, I have a guy that's like learning like hacking and like computer codes at UNR. He's like, bro, we use ChatGPT, this AI, to break codes. Because if we sit there and we try to break this code, it's gonna take weeks or months. When ChatGPT breaks it down in like 2 seconds, So it's like again, it's a tool.
We've been using it to draw up the content.
This CBD infused cream provides targeted comfort with a zesty, refreshing scent. Find your relief today at ktapothecary.com.
Tired of tattoo chairs that squeak, wobble, and feel like you're tattooing on a folding lawn chair from 1982? Say goodbye to imported pain and hello to the Chariot Tattoo Chair, the only throne fit for an artist and their canvas. Crafted right here in the good old US of A, the Chariot Tattoo Chair is more American than a bald eagle riding a Harley through a fireworks show. No tariffs, no shipping delays, just pure economic freedom. We're talking lumbar support that'll cradle your client's spine like it owes them money, armrests that adjust faster than your last relationship, and a 360-degree swivel that'll have you spinning like a DJ at a block party. Stop torturing your back and your client's dignity. Upgrade to the Chariot Tattoo Chair because your art deserves better than a glorified bar stool. The Chariot Tattoo Chair. Sit proud, ink loud.
Contracts, to draw art, to do my fucking descriptions. I use it writing and stuff. But like I said, I also still have that double-sided sword. Like one side I like it, and the other side I'm hating it.
But I mean, think about it, bro. You come out with a great image, right? And you give it to the tattooer, and that tattooer doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Then what's
Well,
where's
that's the
where's
thing,
the
too.
creativity there? Where's
Well,
the
yeah,
art there?
that's the other
You know
thing
what I
too.
mean?
Some tattoo guys, the AI can create better than what these guys can translate. Do you know how to translate that tattoo
And that's
style?
what I tell them,
Not everybody's equipped to that.
I got into this when I started in tattooing, bro. It wasn't even because I love tattooing. You know what I mean? It wasn't because I wanted. It's not like my dream was to be a tattooer. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't that. I saw that it was a good hustle. And I could make money. I had a baby on the way. I was like, okay, I can make money. Once I was in there and I started like figuring and understanding it, and you had to do an apprenticeship, and then after that, this and that, and then I fully was invested. I, I was like, oh crap! Like I drew here and there in school, but I didn't. I wasn't like a drawer, you know what I mean. So that's why I always tell people I'm a tattooer, not a tattoo artist. Give me some, I'll tattoo it.
I fell into it by mistake,
You know,
but I fell in love with it.
and I'm in love with it now.
I can tell you, like me, my brother, and we can say Kelly. Back in the day when we went to Mexico, when I took Kelly to Mexico, me, my brother, and Kelly, we talk tattoo 24 hours a day, all day. We eat, sleep, shit tattoo, have breakfast for tattoo. I mean, we had so much tattoo talk between me, my brother, and Indio. Kelly and Indio and me, we had so much tattoo talk. Like we really realized how immersed we were into tattoo, and India was immersed into tattoo, and I was completely fucking immersed into it. Also, I'm glad that I had a cool ass teacher that drove me into doing custom tattooing, drove me into saying, "Hey, bro, draw your visions, have people tell you their dreams, and draw them on them and accomplish it, and shit like that." But yeah, in the world of tattoo, we all come in with different levels of gravity it's just some of them come in thinking it's just a party place and a stripper job almost. Others come in like this is a good hustle.
Well, that's what I say now. I say, I wasn't in it at the beginning, but now I'm in love. I'm so deep inside now with the tattooing and the I just love it. Tattoo machines and the art and I mean, doing the whole apprenticeship and doing it the right way and doing this and like being so invested, it becomes a lifestyle now. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where I'm in love with the lifestyle. And that's what I tell my, the guys that I take, to that want a tattoo. I said, if you're not eating, shitting, or sleeping tattooing, you shouldn't be doing this.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Because this is I don't care about your girlfriend. I don't care about your family. I don't care about your mom. I don't have time. No, these are the three things you need to be worried about right now.
Tattooing.
It's just tattooing. Eating, shitting, sleeping, tattooing. That's it.
Like for example, I got $800 and my wife says, "Hey, we need a new refrigerator." I see you have some money there. These are for tubes. I'm ordering $800 worth of tubes, honey. That refrigerator can wait. When you put other things, because I had to, back in the day, we would order our tubes, and I finally got $800 that I was going to get enough set of tubes that I could tattoo all day long without having to stop and go clean out my tubes and sterilize them. So fucking I had to invest a lot of money into my tubes and to my supplies and shit like that. And yeah, it was crazy because my wife would see me still right now. She sees me spending money on tattoo stuff instead of improving my house or working on the house and shit like that. I'll fix that little leak and put a little thing until I'm ready to fix it.
But that's what I think. It's a lifestyle, It
Oh,
becomes that lifestyle because at the end of the day, it's like people come into this thinking that they're gonna make thousands of dollars right off the gate, right? And you can make that, but it takes a while. It takes a while. But I mean, it takes a while. It's kind of like these young cats coming out of paying $20,000-$30,000 to go to cosmetology or these nails or lash, right? But what they're not teaching them is how to create a clientele.
Yeah.
And some of these guys, they'll go in there, they graduate, now they're, barbers or whatever the case is. But now they're like, oh man, I still gotta go and get clients. I still gotta promote myself. Oh crap. 6 months later, they're back at a construction job because they couldn't make it.
Well, luckily, like with me, as I was learning to tattoo, I was also learning how to deal with clients. Kelly was teaching me.
But that's the importance of a right apprenticeship.
Yeah.
People coming, getting it a right apprenticeship, dealing with the customers, being at the shop, cleaning the shop, all those kind of things, setting up, breaking down, all those things are things that are going to help you in the long run, because they become so embedded into you. It's kind of like that muscle memory.
Oh yeah.
You get that muscle memory, and then now you're you're getting that hands-on training. You got these schools that are teaching people how to tattoo.
But and unfortunately, there's money to be made. I mean, they're doing online schools. They're doing, fucking, 20 people come in. They're doing that. When they were doing that in Oregon, we were disgusted by it and this and that. But some people don't. Just because you're a good tattoo artist doesn't mean you're a good teacher. You cannot teach others.
Yeah.
So if you're the tattoo shop owner and you're running a shop and you're struggling even to be yourself a tattoo artist, also struggling with your art, and now you got to teach the other guy. And some of us are good at tattooing, but doesn't mean we're good at teaching.
Correct.
They don't know how to explain it. Yeah. So not everybody can make a good teacher. There's people that are good teachers. They know how to give instruction. They know how to explain it, and they can take on. I mean, sometimes even 2 apprentices at a time. When Kelly taught me, and every time he would take on an apprentice, it was one at a time, and it was for 3 years. After 3 years, he would introduce another person to the industry or bring in another one. Sometimes the person is really talented. He was up and going, so it's like I don't need to wait 3 years. I'll take on another one in 2 years. But also to try and also bring in another one, you create conflict. You're gonna create, hey, this guy's gonna take my money. There's jealousy.
Yeah.
Watch out for your shit, and also don't bite my style. All kinds of don't copy me. All that kind of shit happens as humans. That's what we do to each other. Or we find out that motherfucker's a klepto, and we got to get rid of him.
Yeah.
So when you bring in a new person, you also got to make sure, like, hey, is this motherfucker going to interrupt my shop that I'm going to lose these 3 guys for bringing in this fucking new guy?
Yeah, it's always once you get in, it's even when you bring in a regular tattooer to the shop. You know what I mean? You already got 3 guys that are getting along really well, and now you bring in a 4th person in, kind of.
Yeah, somebody's gonna be barking.
It trickles that wave line there a little bit, right? You're fortunate enough, then eventually you all 4 get along. But then you might get another person in who's gonna get wavy again.
Yeah.
Because we don't know this person. We don't, but it's part of learning. It's part of understanding these and being taking them risks, and just saying, okay, I feel like this person will do good in the team. Yeah, it's gonna create some conflict at first, but once the dust settles, it'll be all great, and then you look back and you're like, man, that was good that you made that decision because now there's 5 of us and we get along pretty well. and then it's not. There's two of us that are getting along pretty well.
Yeah,
you know. And that's the thing about
it's not an easy roller coaster as an owner, and and you're trying to hey, I'm gonna bring in another guy, so hopefully you bring in work. He's got a clientele, but the other guys, I don't know, this motherfucker wants, and we barely get him enough work for us, and you go bring another dog in the house.
Yeah.
It's like, don't worry, he's got his own stakes. He might even share it with us.
But that's also really good. I always think about it like as a good competitiveness of it. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Because it's like as a tattooer, and then you get another guy that does color, and you do color, but then you go and see that guy do sick ass piece. You go back to your chair, and you're like, okay, thank God this customer's coming in right now, because now I'm gonna even do a better piece than what homie did right now.
Bring the competitor out of you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now him and you are, but you guys are elevating. You guys are going together
trying to do each other.
But that's that friendly competition, and it helps out. Like there's a thing with like
it's friendly until they stab you. Why you stab me, Vato?
And we had one of those.
Oh yeah.
We did have something against that.
Oh, when somebody trips you on the way out.
Hey, look, and he's back at the shop, so but it's one of those things where it's like you get these people that have these studios now, right? They're private owned studios, and there was a talk we had this at the shop where people were like, okay, well, private studio. If you have a private studio, you're whack. You know what I mean? But we don't know. That person might not get along with people, and that's what it why is. He's at the studio.
And he did try also going,
and he just couldn't cut it there.
Not everybody's mentally capable. You're already suffering with your own art, and sometimes you don't want to hear from others.
Yeah.
So sometimes you are better off alone. And some of us, we like sharing with others, and being it was like.
So that's where I have the same thing. It's that love-hate conflict with that. Because then you go and you're like, okay, so you're at your studio by yourself, and who are you competing with? Yourself. That's it, right? But who are you comparing your work to? You know what I mean? There's not that friendly competition anymore. You kind of. I've seen artists that have done that. They stand at one spot 3-4 years later, they're still doing the same thing. When there's better tools now in 4 or 5 years, there's better inks, there's better needles, but you're still stuck on doing the same thing you were doing 5 years ago because you're not. It's like
it's in an uncomfortable situation. We get in a comfortable situation.
And when you get an artist at a shop, he buys a brand new machine. You're like, oh, I've been looking at that machine. It's cool that you got it. Hey, if there's a chance, like whenever you're not tattooing, can I borrow it? Yeah, go ahead, run it. Now, you don't have to buy that machine because you got your homie the shop that
you tried it, you like it,
don't like it now.
Or if you like it, you're like, I'm going to save up money.
And I'm right? But when you're by yourself, where are you getting that from? Yeah. Now you got 10 machines that you.
Yeah, but some of these fuckers need to be by themselves. They're too grumpy. They're too mean.
Those there.
Or they don't like to share.
Yeah.
Or simply coming up, hey, with a campaign, we're gonna do this, or we're gonna go do an art piece for an event, and I don't want to do it. So it's kind of like I thought we were a team. So
it's for since I moved to my new location, there was a minute that I'm there by myself. Mm-hmm. And
so you starts that.
It starts feeling good. I'm not gonna lie, it starts feeling good. Like you're like, okay, cool. Like you're bumping the music that you want. You're, like it's more comfortable, right?
Yeah, you don't have that stress.
You don't have that stress, But then I started realizing, like, no, like I'm getting too comfortable, So that's when I was like, okay. And then now, I got another artist, Aaron, at the shop. So it's like, okay, now. We're getting back on that, when my brother shows up. Now there's 3 of us. It's getting okay, cool,
And your brother, he older or younger than you?
Younger.
You guys kind of compete with our team, like me and my brother.
Yeah, So it's just one of those situations where you kind of have that. Now I'm like, okay, I'm glad I didn't take that road really long, somebody.
You didn't become a hermit.
Because who would have known? I might have been like way, and then I would have probably got stuck there, Yeah. So I don't like that. It's just one of those things that I've always liked, feeling around other people and learning from other people and inspiring me from other people. I remember there was an artist that brought the iPad for the first time to our shop, and we was talking shit about it, you know. And
Everybody got an iPad.
wait no, and then he starts doing this thing with the iPad, and we're like, oh crap, oh okay, oh damn, okay, cool. You just did a whole line drawing like that. Okay,
You made a perfect circle.
you know. So it was like, what program are you using? Oh, damn, okay, cool. So then, all right, cool. Next week, we had an iPad. This boy had an iPad, right? And then, oh, what brushes do you got? Oh, I got these brushes. Now we're switching brushes, right? And then we didn't take a class for Procreate or for any of those programs,
No,
right? But you learned from what he learned. So all right, folks, so you learned 4 things on how to do Procreate. All right, cool. And guess what I learned, fool? Did you know that you could do another layer like this? And then you're like, oh shit, okay. So now you learn. Now what you learned 3 things for him, you got 2 things for him. Now you're like, okay, yeah. I know 10 things from that Procreate. You know,
everybody's learning a lot faster. Like when we started photographing, we all bought the same camera, so we could fucking be able to compare notes or
yeah.
What filter are you using? How'd you get that photo or this or that?
Yeah,
and we had this. We could talk about the same thing. If we would have had different cameras, we wouldn't have been able to share information.
And that's kind of like what I like about like expos or going to other tattoo shops and guest spotting at other tattoo shops, because like especially like you go to California, they got fucking they're like in the future over there compared to what we're over here. You know, you know what I mean?
I'm still using clippers and foot switches, cabrón. That must look like a dinosaur.
You know what I mean? But it's like, oh shit, what are you guys doing there? Oh, I didn't know that. Shit. Okay, cool. You know, you come back and now you got a hot ass thing to show the shop, and everybody's off. Oh, what is that? Right? And now you're like, you're that guy for at least a week. You know, like
for a week until everybody figures out. I can get it on eBay. I can get it on Amazon.
you know what I mean? But
you know, it's be a little secret now. Everything is available. Everything,
and that's but it's like, how do you make use of that? You know, make use it as a tool. The way I look at it, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. There's been things that I'm like, oh, let me find out on YouTube how they're doing this. Yeah, and I've been tattooing for years, and it's like,
YouTube is a great
shit, I did not know that. I did not know that. Like, there was a minute where I was like confused between a regular rotary and a fucking direct drive. You know what I mean? And I was like, what the fuck's a direct drive, right? And I was like, what? Okay, So I go on and do my research and start finding out different videos of what a direct drive was and what this was. And it was like, oh, okay. I knew what the fuck it was all along. I just, why they call it, you know what I mean? Like, just didn't know the name. The correct, like you said, the correct language, you know? Yeah. And now you're like, okay, now I get it, and it's good too.
And it's also coming to you by video. Like,
yeah.
Back in the day when they taught us, they were talking about the pneumatic. We didn't know until we went to a convention. Oh, it's got a pneumatic. Come check it out.
Was that compressor?
Yeah, the compressor was. It's like we're all like, "Ooh, check it out!" And we're asking him questions. That was our Google. The conventions was our Google. That was our place to go. Even the computers were kind of there, but the picture was
wild because even
there wasn't a lot of videos.
Yeah,
the video quality was really bad compared to now.
No, yeah,
but and the information wasn't there as much as it is now.
Or if you went to an expo, right, and you saw an artist that you really liked, and he was selling a 2 DVD set that he made, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We did,
you know what I mean? Like,
before the DVD, it was the Flash. Then some of these guys started making their own books and stuff like that.
Yeah, you just collect Flash from different people. You know, it's and that's they don't even do that nowadays. Hardly at expos now. People aren't even talking at expos anymore like that. It's about. Now it's about who's bringing the most gear at this expo. You know what I mean? Who's got the biggest screen at this expo, right?
Yeah, everybody's got their computer, their TV.
Who's bringing the more lights and the, who's looking.
I'm bringing lights to the next convention, man.
But that's what it's about, right? That's why, like, I have this big old plastic chain. So when I go to expos, I have my alter ego, right? I have my alter ego. I put on my glasses. I put on this big old plastic chain, right? because I think to me it's funny. Who's got the biggest chain at the expo, right? Who's got the most jewelry at the expo? So I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna buy the biggest fucking chain I can find, and that's what's worth the fucking,
You have to have a little bit of a character, a little bit of a secret.
So I created this little alter ego at the that now it's like, okay, when fools see me, they're gonna see that, oh yeah, that's that fool with the big ass chain, right? Or
Then they try to steal it, fuckers.
right? But that's that's how it is now at the expo. People are hardly ever have business cards out, little QR code,
Yeah, it's fucking true. Remember when I started that QR code and people were making fun of my shit? Now everybody got a QR code.
But it's just now what you're bringing to the expo that's gonna create that, And then this is the other thing. You have your Instagram at fucking J Velasquez _ ATM, right? First thing they go look, check you out. Oh, this fool's got 1,200 followers. All right, let's go to the next guy.
It's gotta be 5,000. I only give him 5,000 enough.
You know what I was? But it's bro, my art is here, bro. I got pictures. I got TV.
You ain't got the followers.
I got the fall. You know what? It's like it's crazy the way this industry is going.
Yes.
And I've seen really great tattooers with shitty ass followers, not that many followers, And then I've seen shitty ass tattooers with a shit ton of fucking followers. And it's like, bro, it's like, remember back in the day when Miami Ink was barely coming up and you had the Cavon D and, all these fools that came out on that show, right? And then you went to expos and everybody, oh, Cavon D's here. But then you're like, bro, there's way better portrait artists than Cavon D, right? Or blah, 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 right? And it's like one of those things where like, but they're just not mainstream,
Yeah, well,
and that's where it is now, where if you're not mainstream, you're not a thing anymore, you're relevant, and it's like now you gotta start dancing on videos. You gotta start,
either that or doing podcasting because that's the best way to get people's attention. I'm not a good wiggle and all that shit, so I'm gonna do podcasting.
But it's like those are now you're a tattooer, you're a designer to tattoos, you're a dancer, you're an editor, you're your manager, you're all this other,
Yes, I know.
family man.
It used to be we just tattooed, we got money, and we went home. Now we gotta post it. Now we gotta pick out the right song for it.
Yeah.
Now we gotta copy and paste and put little things here.
Do you ever find
Now
yourself in a song that you didn't?
You have to leave the phone number and or put a contact or the QR code. Before it was like, find me on the phone book and I'll see you when you come in through the front door. That's when we do business. I'm getting texts. Oh, can we do this? And and they send me a picture and I tell them this much. Fuck you. I don't even get to even talk to them in person for this.
Yeah,
for this.
I've had people call at the shop. Hello, hey, how much for a full sleeve?
Yeah.
And you're like, well, what do you want? And I want a bunch of stuff for the sleeve, Okay, well, we can't give you a price. Why can't you give me a price? Call the steakhouse right now and ask them how much it's gonna be if you have 8 people with you. They're gonna tell you, well, we don't know what you're gonna order. We don't know if you're gonna get expensive steak or cheap steak. Yeah. So it's the same thing with why are you calling about a house leave? Well, my prices start, this much. Base it from there.
I would tell them $3,465.62. How did you come up with that? Well, I'm trying to tell you that we do it by the session. This is how we go. But if you really want to know a definite price, it's $3,455.62.
Yeah, but that's the truest thing, bro. And it's like, now I catch myself listening to the radio, listening to a song, and oh crap, what's that song name? Now I gotta look up the name because I'm gonna put this in a video later, for when I tattoo,
Oh yeah, you're thinking of your area and everything before you even. You're over here doing the tattoo. You're thinking how you're gonna create your reel and all this shit.
And it's just, it's just one of those situations where where you know, and I mean, and you either embrace it and you go with it, or you're gonna be an angry grouch talking about
I see that. I see that.
you know, and then you're gonna be left behind, and then you're gonna wonder why am I not getting clients? Why am I not getting? Why am I not?
Nobody goes to Grouchy Ralph.
You know what I mean? Why am I sitting and not doing nothing while that fool's doing a bunch of? Because guess what? That guy, he's already posted 10 videos. He's already posted 10 stories. He's already put out there that he.
But none of them are about tattoo. They're all dance videos. You know, none of them are about tattoos.
But think about it. Think about it. You ever see? I remember back in the day, right? You would see a fruit stand on the corner. You know, oh yeah, let me pull over to buy, fruit. Right? Now I see them dancing too. Out there. You know?
The Jiffy Luca.
You know, and then
everybody doing their own thing.
You see them and you're like, oh, yeah, that fool's making a TikTok about his frutas right there, you know? But it's just what it is, you know. It's like, for a minute there, I was getting paid on TikTok, getting money from TikTok, putting my videos and all that stuff. But dude, that's a whole ass job, And it's like now I'll post a video, I'll get money still, but it's a couple cents. But I'm like, I look at it as a tool, man. If I can put a couple videos there and I'm getting paid, and I do it over here and I'm getting paid here a little bit, it all adds up. You know what I'm saying? It all adds up. Same thing
and
with
this fucking apps is not up on us, not realizing how important that we're gonna be. I didn't realize how important Instagram was gonna be to me until my shit got hacked and stolen. They're like, oh my shit got. Well, I was like, it's fucked up. You start with these apps as a little game, and they become your marketing.
Well, back in the day, I remember like my old boss. He used to have this big book of business cards. Big,
Yeah, I still have my fucker.
And he said, he told me, hey, this is where my money is right here. If I lose this thing, I'm losing a lot of my clients, because this, and it's like the same with Instagram, a lot of your stuff is on there now, a lot of your clients are on there, a lot of you, and I still try to keep it kind of old school in a way with my clients where I tell them, come to the shop. Let's come in. Let's talk. Let's do a consultation. It's free. You're not gonna, and we'll talk because we can have a 5-10 minute conversation.
And you can get more,
and then we're done.
Than fucking text. I hate texting. They're trying to do everything by text. It's like, can you just come in?
But that's the thing. That's the thing. It always starts with like, hey, how you doing? Hey, I was wondering about a tattoo, right? Then you're like, okay, send me what you want. Cool, let me look at it. And then you gotta wait for them to reply. Then they reply back, okay, well, where are you thinking of putting it? Then you gotta wait for them to reply back. So send me a picture of your arm. Then you gotta wait for them to reply. You're doing that plus 20 other people that are doing the same thing with you, right? And then now you're like, dude, I just wasted 3 hours of my life for I'll hit you up later then, when you know what I'm saying? Like with hey,
they leave a bad review. He wasn't nice and polite.
But
oh fuck, I don't even know what the fuck.
I'll hit you up with when I get the money, Okay, cool. So who pays you for that? Time is money. Who pays you for that? So I always tell people, pull up to the shop if you're really about it. Pull up to the shop. We'll do a consultation, and my deposit is $150. And if you have that deposit, I'll put you in the books. Now I'm gonna take time on you, But if you just came and you told me about this crazy idea how you wanted horns with this and that, and you told me, well, I'll let you know later. It's like we never had this conversation. I don't even remember who you are. Because then they're like this. They'll come to the shop. Hey, I texted you on Instagram. Okay. Who are you? Because I had other 25 people that text me on Instagram.
We had a great time on Instagram. You don't remember me, Vato? Oh, man. I know the feeling.
Well, who are you? Well, I sent you the tattoo design that I wanted. Okay, but which one? Because
still, you're not
I don't just have one client.
Can you show me? Yeah, they think that they're the only one.
They're the only ones that and I mean, no disrespect. I love my clients and I love all of my clients that spend money when they come in and they get tattooed.
Well, those are the ones I like too. The ones that spend money. The ones that come and bug me and just fuck up my time. I don't like them at all.
And it's just what it is. But it's, again, you embrace the times, you embrace what you can use out of that, and then, like you said, if you don't educate your clients, like I tell them, look, it's just better if you come in and we'll have a 5-10 minute conversation, and we're gonna get so in those 5-10 minutes, we're gonna get really in depth on what you want, and then cool, leave me a deposit, and then now I'm like, okay, you didn't waste my time.
Yeah, now we can do business.
Now we can do business, and then now we're good, and now you're my only client for that day, because now I'm gonna take my time. I'm just you, and then we're gonna go from there, But again, it goes, there's, and again, just embrace it and use it as a tool on those things. Instagram, use it as a tool. Put yourself out there. There's people that don't get to see you that much, but they get
Sometimes
to
I hate it, homie. Having to post every day, almost twice a day, or this or that.
Yeah, man.
Sometimes I have to take.
Day.
You can only come up with so many fucking ideas.
But I tell you what, I used to be the same way until I started sitting and not working. And then
shit, I think I need to get back up.
And it's like, damn, clients aren't coming, right? So it's like, shit. Well, how do they know I got an opening right now? Yeah. If I'm not putting it out there, there's some people that they're just they tell me, hey dog, when you get a constellation, hit me up. Yeah, 30 other people told me the same thing. I don't remember that.
I used to do that. Then I hit them up. Oh, no, I can't do it today, motherfucker. Why you say hit you up? Then I call another guy. I did have some really reliable guys that as soon as I call them, they will be right there. But most of them is like, why you ask me to call you if you're not, I just ran into a cancellation. I could move you 2 days faster. No, I'll stick with my appointment. So yeah, it is trippy. We're going through it. We're not gonna go through that fucking and that's everything changes right now. The computer, the AI, and the technology, the rotary machines, all this shit is changing so fast. It's hella hard to keep up with it.
Right, and it's and it's, but again, we go back to the same basis. Use it as a tool. Embrace it. And do the best you can do with that time, with those things. Do you live, like, I know people live on Instagram, and they believe everything you see on Instagram. There's a minute where I had my Snapchat, right? And everywhere I eat, I do a little Snapchat of my food, right? Oh, yeah, I'm eating, and there's always good food for. I'm not going to put my frijoles, so people thought that I was eating at the best fucking restaurants all the time. You're always eating.
Next thing,
Because
he's got a food credit fucking TV show.
But you create that persona that people think you are.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's like you're like, bro, I'm not that guy. But you fall for it, because I remember I met an artist one time, bro, that I've been following for a while, and his Instagram, he's always live and he's always happy and he's always, and then when I go meet him, hey, what's up, bro? I was, hey, I'm trying to think that he's gonna be this happy fucking
fucker. That's his real, You kind of like his off time.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like, that's when I realized, look, dude, you can't base people off what you're seeing on social media. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, they're selling themselves on social media. They're putting themselves to get product, for people to come. They're selling a product, so can't base it on just that. It's like a model. A model gets put on a commercial. She's hot looking, and they pamper her, and they made her all look good.
But she's not really that nice.
But she busted in real life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That catfish shit. You're right. I mean, I've seen. Some of these girls are.
We're all getting catfish living with the industry right now, one way or another. No, everything is. We don't know what's real or fake anymore.
But if you put yourself so into that, then it becomes really tough. So you gotta be like, look, bro, I shit and giggles about.
We gotta stop watching Kill Tony then.
I do shits and giggles on what I see on Instagram, because at the end of the day, it's like, if you embrace yourself so much into that, now you're that guy that now can't even keep a conversation with somebody because you're like this.
Yeah,
and you're like this.
I used to find it hella irritating when I was trying to like, hey, let's go out to eat, or me and my homie. And he kept answering the phone. It's like, hey, fucker, next time just come by yourself. I thought we were gonna hang out. All I see you doing is fucking texting everybody else and having a conversation with three other motherfuckers. I thought we were gonna connect and we're gonna talk a little business, or we're gonna talk about this new fishing trip that we're taking.
Yeah.
And I wanted to socialize with you. Hold on. You motherfucker.
Well, it's like I have the guys looking at me when they're the doing the apprenticeship or whatever, and they're looking at me tattooing, right? But then I turn around and they're like this, and it's like, hey, dog, when you're over here, don't be on your fucking phone. That's like one of my biggest pet peeves. Don't be on your phone. If you're here, you're here. Because again, it goes back to being in a different zone. Like I know if I'm arguing with my girl over here, and then I'm in this zone, and then like I'm more focused on this than I am on this. What's going around?
I used to be like that with these fuckers, but now I was like, dude, I need you to post this. I am. I'm posting it right now.
But then you don't know if they're really even paying attention to you or not, because they're in that zone, in that zone with that phone. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I
hated that in the past. Now the phone.
I still hate it.
You can't live without it.
Well, I still hate it because if I'm talking to you, be here. You know what I mean? Don't be having 20 other conversations with 20 other people.
That's a good thing. My phone is over there.
But I mean, imagine if we were here, bro, and you know what I mean? Like,
believe me, I went through that issue. Now it even happens at my house with the kids, the grandkids.
That's
Hold on, Grandpa.
and that's one of those things with my wife. That's the rule at the house. We're having dinner, we're eating.
Put the phone away.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't want phones on the table.
Yeah, have a little social time. Other ones are so stuck on that shit.
I've seen it at parties, bro. I've seen it at parties where people are texting each other and they're at the same party.
Okay, we're back. This is that was a good time to put in some commercials, but we're gonna be closing this session soon. On the next one, we're gonna cover maybe we're gonna talk about what this fucker does for fun. Maybe we'll talk about other stuff other than work and tattooing. Because sometimes we like to ask, have you ever seen any aliens? have you had any encounters with ghosts? We go into goofy shit like that.
Yeah.
Or if you have any stories about Sasquatch,
Yeah.
Or anything, or what kind of things you guys do. But plug in your Instagram, homie, so we make sure that people know where to find you.
So my Instagram's ATM Tattoos, and then that's the shop page. And then my personal tattoo page is J Velasquez _ATM.
And what about you gonna be going to any convention soon?
Yeah, I'm gonna be in Ventura County. I'm gonna be at the Seaside Tattoo Convention, June 6th through the 8th.
Okay.
Yeah.
So look him up if you're in that area. Check out his Instagram. He may not have that many followers, but he's got charisma. It's not all about the followers, fucker. It's about the talent. Check out the portfolios.
Hey, it was fun.
People hardly ever check out portfolios or ask for portfolios anymore.
They don't do that, bro. They don't. We have it on the TV screen, but we used to have them at the old shop, at the old spot. And I mean, when I picked them up, they're all dusted because no one ever.
That was the first thing that people would do. Can I see your portfolios?
Yeah.
And they would go and look at the portfolios. Okay, I want to talk to this guy.
You know what they do?
Then we would bring out that client, that artist. Hey,
yeah.
T-Bone. Oh, hey, Vaca, this client likes your book. Okay, then somebody already liked your art, and then you go out there and do a quick consultation and set it up. But
yep. You know what they do now?
Don't do that.
You know what they do now? Hey, can you do this? If you can or can't, you're not gonna say no. Yeah, I can do that. How does that person know you can do that or not? But that's what they do now. Can you do this?
It's so weird. They just take it out.
Hey, when you talk about trust, that's real trust.
Yeah, that's a different trust, I guess. It's a different.
But it's just one of those things where it's just, again, it's where the industry's going, and having these kind of podcasts and putting that information out there is very helpful, because it's we get a little bit of a brink of the past, a little bit of the present, a little bit of the future, and it's educational. It's one of those things where it's just it's good education, and it's online and it's free, and I had a great time today, going back talking, great experiences, and I appreciate you having me here today.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thank you for coming. You guys have a nice one. This is the chairman and the artist. We'll see you guys later.